Well, as you can see, I've got the bulkhead in the frame, in the jig. Works out well, but by God, you need 2 people. 3 if you're that way inclined. But because the footwell was missing here, there wasn't anything to support the bulkhead as I dropped it in, if you see what I mean. It needs something to support it, but I'll have a walk around and I'll show you where all the pickup points are. But yeah, very interesting. The one thing I noticed, that the bolt going through the foot of the door pillar is now a 1/2 inch hole, or for a 1/2 inch bolt. Probably because they were for defenders or something like that. But the original ones were 7/16. Were they 9/16, are they? I don't know. Inch stuff, I've never used inch for years. In fact, I made all this jig, all the mounting fixtures in 5/16 UNF. What a hell of a job I had trying to find some 5/16 UNF bolts. Anyway, let's have a walk around. So this is a place that Jean-Francois, he put this leg in, and it was quite nice. It lines up really nice with my jig. That's good. I had a bit of a struggle trying to get this bolt, this pin in here. It seemed to be down a little bit, but I think we can correct that. I might just cut this a little bit and just take the stress out of it when I put the footwell in. I'm not really sure. It bolts on here, on the inside. That's okay. Like I say, that pin lined up beautifully. That went nice. This side I had to put a smaller bolt in because the hole in the foot of the door pillar was smaller, so we'll watch out for that one. This one lined up perfectly, so we know this is straight. These are just temporaries, so we can whip these in and out, no problem at all. And again, I just put 1 bolt in there because we're going to cut this out, but it's just to hold it stable. But what I was saying was, if this piece is in on both sides, when we can drop it and rest it on here, which makes life a lot easier. So yeah, that's it. That's it in. Now I've got to plan what I'm going to do. I think I might just start on this side first and get some rigidity back to it. Plus also it's going to be easy because I've already got most of it in. Got to buff off that piece off there, flatten this down. He's drilled out the spot welds, that's good. Not so sure about that stainless steel panel that goes in here. I don't know. I might just pop that in and see what gives later. You know, or use some Clecos or something like that, and or self-tapping screws. But yeah, not too bad. It's nice to work on because, like I say, you can spin this around 360 degrees, so we're not welding from underneath. This is going to be interesting to do this one here because it's got this reinforcement plate in here for the pedals. Now, for the observant of you, you'll notice that somebody's cut this out to get the pedal out, the clutch. So I'm thinking just make a new one because it's all rusted here. Yeah, I think make a new one. It's like I say, it's just a bit of reinforcement. I don't think on the Defenders they even had that. Yeah, we can see the spot welds. What I'm going to show you is later we're going to mark out the spot welds with a marker so we can instantly see them. Well, then we'll take this bit off here and we'll cut down here, take this panel out. I'm very tempted just to take this piece out completely and overlap here, if you see what I mean. They just go like that, and because I don't know if you can catch it here, that these are self-tapping holes, not self-tapping. These are captive nuts on here, and they're a bugger to get out. And if they're okay, which they are, we'll leave them. There's a little bit of a hole there, but that's nothing. Yeah. Anyway, let's try and get some enthusiasm going. Jean-Francois can't come till next week, so that's too late for me because I've got to get this out. It's getting cold now, and I don't want this in here forever. But I think I'll be able to manage this on my own. It was just really to get it into the frame and cut bits of metal. But anyway, you've had a good look. Let's have a look, see what the footwell lines up like. Well, we have a faller at the first fence. We didn't even get to Beecher's Brook. I've just realised that this is a right-hand drive bulkhead and I've got left-hand drive panels. Wow. This, put that there. It throws us into a bit of confusion now, because has he got a left-hand drive steering box for this? And the swivels and all the bits and pieces that go with, not as much the swivels, but the steering arms and stuff like this. Bugger. I think I'll have to give him a call before I start welding. God, these things are set to try us. Yeah, so anyway, I'll just go back and give him a call and see what he says. Well, I haven't had a reply yet, but I think I'll just steam on and do this left-hand drive, because I seem to remember that he has a left-hand drive steering box on that truck. Well, it doesn't really matter anyway, because all we have to do is blank the holes off and move them over the other side. It's no big deal. First part I'm going to fit is this piece. That's kind of easy. On glue. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a series of holes in here with a punch or a drill round here. Now this is going to go sort of like that. You with me? And the reason why I'm putting the holes from this side, so that rather than from the inside, rather than putting it on the footwell, is because I can get a good weld from the other side rather than working upside down. And you know, if you're working in your car, it's really tricky, but sometimes this is easy for me just to put a series of holes in here ready for this. Then we can put some self-tapping screws in, clecos or whatever you want to do, and put them in. And so what we'll do is, like I say, we'll put a series of holes along there. 3/16, good enough. What's that? 4mm? Is it 4mm? I don't know. The world be only with all these bloody measurements. But first of all, what we've got to do is make sure it fits. Now, if you see in this corner here, see there's a bit here. Land Rover, when they were making this bulkhead, folded it over. Unfortunately, that piece at the top is catching. So I'm just going to run the grinder down there, a zip grinder, and cut that off straight, because there's plenty of material on here to cover that, if you see what I mean. When we put this on, this is coming right up to here, so don't worry about that. Yeah, that's going to be good. Now I think, yeah, no, that's going to work out good, because I can get in from the back. Yeah, no, let me slip that off. So there you go. Now we've trimmed that piece off. That's going to fit perfectly. Don't fight against things, it's not worth it. So like I say, we're going to put some holes in here. We're going to put the footwell on with this piece, and we're not going to spot weld this top corner. Let's see if you can see this a bit better. Maybe there. We're not going to spot weld through this because the other one is sandwiched between it. Alright, so just a row of holes in there. And then, once we've got our buffer out, I'm going to buff this piece of metal off here. Not this, but there's a little sharp bit on there. We're going to get our dolly, hollow dolly, and then straighten this edge out a little bit, because that's gone in. Then we could really put our footwell in. This is going too easy, what's wrong? Just use the hammer and dolly on here just to straighten that panel out a bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Good. Now, I upgraded my panel to 7mm holes. Why? Because, well, I was going to put some smaller holes in, but they were a bit too thin. And what we're going to do is plug weld this. We're not going to spot weld it. Well, it is a spot weld, but we call it plug welding. And the idea is, instead of welding on the seam, we weld as close as to the corner as we can get, because then it's going to be nice and strong. if you weld here, there's a chance that the metal will flex, can crack the weld. But more importantly, when you're welding this piece that goes along the door pillar, you don't want weld on the edge because you'll never get your bloody seal back on. So it's easy to do it like this and then buff off the inside channel once this is done. So we're going to put this in place now. I've buffed off everywhere where it's going to be welded using just a buffing wheel. And then we're going to put this in place like that. You can see, let me move this around a bit. Right, can you see that? And then we're going to get hold of, which have I forgotten it? No, it's here, it's here, it's here. We're going to hold it together with some Tech screws. I'll take this one here. These little mag drives are really good. So there's a Tech screw. It's a screw and a drill all combined, but it's got a hex head on it, so you can get a nice drive onto it. So through the spot weld holes, we're just going to screw one or two. Going to make sure that's all nice in line. Like that. But the beauty about these is you can use them over and over again. I can hear them in. That daisy. Trying to lift that. Sometimes you get a dead one. That I'd probably put back in the box. Let's have a go with this one. You can see how that clinches that panel together. You know, we're out a little bit here at the bottom, but we're going to put another one through here and one in the top, then we'll come back. Next thing we're going to do is try our panel in. Always try, don't just sort of guess it and just weld everything up, because once you weld it, that's it. There you go. And oh, look at that, me lads. Well, I don't know if you can see, but my bolt holes here line up perfectly. That's good. Yeah, it's going to go good. We need to just pull this in to here. Again, we'll use some Tech screws. I've upgraded the holes here to 7mm at no extra expense. Next thing, we're going to get this panel. Now, a lot of people have said this panel on the side here is stainless steel, and it's going to cause rust. It's a Land Rover. That's what they do, you know. Anyway, besides that, we haven't got anything else, and besides that, I'm not going to even fanny about making another one, just because of that. Now we can see, let's have a look here. We can see here that this panel, because it's been pressed here, it's got a little bit contorted, and that's why it's important to put these bolt holes in here to keep this the same height as here. We've got this nice. This is going to Tech screw down really nice. We'll do that from both sides, but we'll probably have to pull this up to meet this panel. Now this panel's a bit shonky, to say the least. I might just have a look in my container, because I seem to think I've got a Series 3 one somewhere that was a bolt-in one. It's a damn sight better than that. Let's go and have a look. With this panel in now, the stainless one, we can now put our panel in. Now, Jean-Francois just popped down over lunchtime, and he told me these panels here, with the pressings, came from paddocks of all places. Like you said, they're a bit twisted, but they'll come out, but they're a lot stronger than they were. I don't know who makes them. Anyway, it doesn't really matter who made them. The thing is, does it fit? Oh, it fits like a damn glove. Let me get a washer. There we go. So now we're going to flip it over and put some Tek screws in from the opposite side and try and pull that together. Technical problem. If we put that piece here onto this piece here, we've got a gap here. That doesn't seem right to me. Wait a minute, let's work this out. Well, I had a lot of fun trying to put that in. Yeah, it's sort of not too bad. I don't know what really went wrong, but as I was screwing it onto here, I was finding out it wouldn't screw on the inside. You see where my screw holes have missed here. It seems as if this bit here is wider. I don't know why, but this piece that goes onto here, it seems as if it's shorter and it's pulling the panel. I don't know. Anyway, all the rest of it went good. So I'm going to try and weld it up now. I'll use the little Yes welder today. That's a good little welder for doing this job. And then we'll see how this comes along. Then may do this one at this side. I don't know. I'm getting a bit fed up with it now. Yeah, no, we'll do this one as well. So I'm using the Yes welder. It's set for 0.6 wire, and the only thing you change on it, the only one knob that's on it, is the amperage. Now it's very difficult to see because it's got this bloody daft overhang on here and you can't see anything. It's set at 71 amps. It's set for two touch trigger, that's on and off. Set for 6.6 wire, and it's set for the gas. And really after that, well, there's nothing really to it. It's quite a good little machine. Like I say, when we welded Jim's, it was perfect. You know, for welding up rusty stuff. The thing that puts you off a little bit is when you pull the torch, when it's actually welding, the high frequency makes a funny noise. It's not like the old regular welders that we're used to, the old Lincolns and stuff like that, but it was a damn good job. So I'll tell you what, let's have a go at see what it's like. I'll do this live and see if it cocks it up. I'm going to see if I can put a couple of spot welds in through this stainless. That'll be fun, won't it? Just get rid of this bit of shit on here. Hey! It's lovely! Don't knock me over, crying that out. See what I mean? I'll do a weld on that other one. You can watch it and then you can see. There you go. How's about that then? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all these little welds on, oops. I'm going to do all the exposed holes, and then I'm going to take all the Tek screws out and then weld it up. It's really easy to do, I must admit. You just got to fill the holes in. Well, you can see I stop and I start, stop, start, because you don't want it to burn all the way through, and that's come through quite nice. So let's get on with that. Well, that side welded up. A little bit funny to weld some places. He was a bit rusty behind here, but it welded all right. What I'm going to do now is just run over it with a buffing disc, like a soft 40 disc, clean it all up, and then it'll be sort of ready for a bit of caulking. I wasn't really happy too much about these corners here, but well, it's all right. Nobody sees them. Bit of carpet on them will be fine. Now they'll be strong enough, but I don't know. It's like I said, it didn't seem to fit quite right. But it's gone on all right, so I'm all right. I'm good there. Right, let's get that buffed up. Ugh, what a mucky job. Hate doing welding like this. Yeah, it's got it on quite well. Nice and strong. It'll put some seam seal around it, seal up the gaps, and it'll be fine.